The man with the yellow face. A stranger walked into the village, his face as pale as the morning mist, his skin tinged with an unnatural yellow. His eyes held a sorrow too deep for words. The villagers gathered around, whispering to one another. "Who is this man? Why does he look like this?" An old shopkeeper, curious and kind, stepped forward. "Son, what burden do you carry that has drained the life from your face?" The man looked up, his eyes hollow. He took a deep breath, and his voice trembled as he began his tale. "Once I was not like this. I had a brother, my only companion in this world. We lived in a small village, where we worked together, laughed together, and shared every moment of our lives. But fate had its own plans that I could not change." He paused, his fingers gripping the wooden counter of the shop. The villagers leaned in, listening. "One day, my brother and I went into the jungle to cut wood. The sun was bright, the wind gentle, and everything felt as it always had. But then, the silence broke. A rustling in the bushes, a heavy slither, the feeling of something watching us. Before we could react, a monstrous snake, larger than any I had ever seen, lunged from the shadows. Its fangs gleamed, its eyes burned like fire. And then before my brother could move, it struck. Its massive jaws clamped around him, trapping him in its deathly grip. The villagers gasped. The shopkeeper's hands trembled as he poured tea. My brother screamed, "Help me!" But I was frozen. My body refused to move. Panic wrapped its claws around my heart. My brother called again. "Pick up your axe. Kill it before it's too late." But my hands shook. My feet were rooted to the ground. All I did was watch as the snake tightened its grip, watched as it swallowed my brother inch by inch, until he was gone. A silence settled over the village, heavy and unbearable. The man's voice dropped to a whisper. That moment shattered me. Since that day, I have not known peace. Regret burns inside me, night and day. The color of my skin faded, drained by sorrow. The weight of my cowardice turned me into a man whose very blood is poisoned by grief. The shopkeeper sighed, his eyes moist with pity. He placed a hand on the man's shoulder. "Regret is a slow poison, son. It eats at the soul. But do not carry this burden alone. Forgive yourself. Learn from your fear, so that it never rules you again." The man looked up, his lips trembling. For the first time in years, he felt something, perhaps hope, perhaps redemption. The villagers stood in silence. No one had words to give, only heavy hearts and prayers for the brother who was lost, and the one who lived with the weight of it.